Hi everyone, I am here today with Andries Pretorius from the Volley student housing brand, and today we're going to be talking a bit about the latest property that we're featuring on EasyProperties and within this brand, and that's Volley Baileys. So welcome Andries, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Awesome, Corley. Thanks so much. Really appreciate your time and yeah, it's great to be here again.
Cool. Yeah, this isn't our first rodeo, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the Volley brand. What do you guys do?
Yeah, I think just to keep it quite short, I think we're a bunch of young entrepreneurs in South Africa that are really passionate about South Africa and about the future of this country. And we know the future of this country lies with our youth. So we came up with the idea of building a student housing or a luxury student housing brand for the South African market, specifically focused around the unique needs of Gen Z. So that's in the long short of who we are. We're busy rolling out the Volley brand quite aggressively. And it's going to be, we've got quite a lot of pipeline Volley projects that we're busy working on, and it's all close to elite universities throughout our country. All of these different sites all have world-class amenities, good services, very well located. It's off the grid, etc. So it's focused around students, around cool universities. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had some of our teammates actually visit one of your other properties, Volley Brooklyn, which we previously featured on EasyProperties. And I mean, that was a huge success. We had over 12,000 investors in that property. And aside from being on EasyProperties, I mean, the property itself has been a huge success. I think I saw that you guys sold out over 80% of your units within like 16 minutes. So, you know, some real high demand going on there. How are things going at Volley Brooklyn?
Yeah, so it's been, I think from the start we knew that there's obviously a massive demand for student housing, but we never realized that it was so big. And so Volley Brooklyn has been massive. We've been, I mean, on the rentals we had on Volley Brooklyn we had over 600 applications. And that's not a lead, that's a full-on application that the guys have to fill in quite a lot of details. They've got to send us bank statements. So it was quite, we were very surprised. And it's been an incredible year so far. I mean, we fully let, we've got over 1,000 applications for next year for Volley Brooklyn and Volley Baileys, which is really exciting for us. And it's been an incredible year. I mean, last night, we had a volleyball showdown at Volley Brooklyn. So we invited numerous students from Brooklyn area, and we had 12 different teams compete in this little volleyball championship in the guys' braai. And it's been, I think that just sums up what it's been about. It's been a really fun year, and the guys have really been enjoying staying there. And I mean, for us to get to know the students has been an absolute joy.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hearing from my team who went to go visit there this week is that it's such a vibe, you know, there's such an atmosphere about it. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Talk to me a bit about student housing and an investment case for that. Why do you think that there's opportunity here for investors in this particular market?
Yeah. So a big reason why we're so bullish on student housing from a developer side is we read this article in 2021. I can't even remember where it was from. And I just remember the heading said something like there's a student housing crisis, 400,000 student beds in South Africa. There's a shortage of 400,000 student beds. And I thought to myself, oh, that's insane. There's obviously a massive demand for student housing. And then I read it was a case study that predicted that by the year 2030, there's going to be an additional 550,000 students that will be brought into the whatever you want to call it, ecosystem, which means so not only is there a massive crisis already, but I mean this thing is just going to keep on increasing. And I think from an investor point of view, you know, if you can meet a specific demand, it's a good investment. And I think more than that, we're playing quite a niche market within that specific field, and we've built up product around quite a niche market. And we are specifically catering towards this Gen Z generation. These are the guys that are coming through right now. So I think as an investor, whether you invest in any student housing development, I think it's a good investment. But I think specifically investing in a Volley branded development, like a lot of the guys obviously on this platform has the opportunity to do, is a really good investment because of the fact that we're on the ground. We get feedback on a daily basis, so we're always improving the specific product for this market. Yeah.
Yeah, and just looking at some of the pictures that we've got up of Volley Baileys and obviously Volley Brooklyn, but just talking now about Volley Baileys, I mean, it's quite luxury. If I was a student, I would absolutely love to live there. Oh my gosh, I lived in a dig somewhere, you know. This is next level. This is something else.
Yeah, from the start we said we wanna Etienne and myself, my co-founder, is we both like to do nice, or we both aesthetically, we want to do things that are aesthetically pleasing and aspirational, and we want to be the best. And from the start we just said, listen, we're not gonna do something mediocre. And we also felt that students deserve better. You know, there's no reason why a student has to stay in a 5 square or 8 square little jail cell. And we also felt the market's been, there's, because of the high demand, it's a lot of the developers, you could do anything and you'll almost be 100% occupied. And we just felt that students deserve better. Let's create something that people want to speak about, and we've seen that on social media. Guys are taking videos and selfies and tagging us, and it's like, yeah, I mean, ask Ronnie, the guys were there yesterday again. It's looking really cool.
Yeah, you're almost creating your own kind of culture, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk Volley Baileys. EasyProperties has secured 5 units. There's a projected internal rate of return of 10% and a net rental yield of 9.5%. And we're getting this property at a discount of 5%. So that's really cool for anyone who's investing now. I mean, the potential for growth is just that much more.
Yeah.
So you kind of have the opportunity to get in on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Let's talk Volley Baileys. What do you think makes it unique? I mean, you've mentioned some of those things that you've spoken about before, but maybe differentiate it a bit from Volley Brooklyn. And where is it at the moment? Is it still in development, and when is that going to be completed?
Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to add that you guys also have a long-term rental guarantee as well. In fact, we've signed for 3 years with the option to extend. So for the next 30 years, you'll always have that guarantee in place with a good escalation per annum. With regards to Volley Baileys, when we got to the site for the first time, we couldn't believe it just felt so majestic because of the trees. So it's based it's about 300 meters away from Volley Brooklyn, and it has the most incredible trees. So from the start, our brief to the architects was to design Volley Baileys around these trees. So we've literally kept the majority of the trees on site, and I think that's something that you don't usually get in a development. So in every single room, you'll have a treetop view, and it's going to feel like you're in a forest, which is from the start a big thing that we wanted to accomplish. And I think obviously Volley Baileys, and I don't actually want to say this, but it's probably going to be our most luxury student or Volley development. And the reason for that is that we're gearing it towards almost postgrad students. It's got even bigger rooms than Volley Brooklyn, which already has big rooms. Every unit is en suite. It's got a double-story lobby. It's got a concierge service again. There's a plate of coffee on site, boardrooms that you can book, co-working spaces. In phase 2, there's going to be a swimming pool, a gym. So it's going to be a bit of a resort lifestyle that you'll have as a student within this forest. And I think that is something that really sets this development apart from most, not only student developments, but from most developments, especially in Pretoria. In general, yeah. And you'll get all the benefits. I just want to add this last thing to this. The idea for us from the start was to create smaller little student spaces so that you don't have these big 1,000 students staying in one building, but you've got smaller hubs in Pretoria. But you still have access to all the different sites. And what that does is it allows the students to really get to know each other on these sites. I mean, so Ronnie was there yesterday and he interviewed these students, I think, and all of them have become really good friends because of the fact that it's smaller, it's a bit more boutique, everyone knows everyone, we've got a lot of cool events. And I think for us, it's important to keep that personal vibe on these little developments. Yeah.
And when will development on Volley Baileys be finished?
Collie will be done in December and we'll be ready for the Jan intake next year.
Okay, that's good timing.
Yeah, we've got a time like that.
So you've spoken a bit about your tenants, and I mean that guaranteed rental is amazing for investors because that's passive income that comes to you in the form of dividends on a regular basis, you know. So that's an opportunity to invest even more or to, you know, take some of that cash if that's what you want to do. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
In terms of the tenants, can you speak to the quality of the tenants? How involved are you in placing tenants, like you personally in the process of that?
Yeah, and I actually think that differentiates us a little bit as well. So we're a vertically integrated developer, which means we develop and we manage these buildings. And from the start, we said, you know, if you the community that you build on these sites is way more important than you can have good aesthetics and good design and all these amenities, but if you have the wrong community, or if you don't foster a good community, you'll have problems. So what we did from the start was we said, let's be incredibly intentional with regards to placing students. And we often joke and we say it's more difficult to get into a Volley than it is to Harvard because of just we make it not difficult, but we are specific. So we literally have ourselves literally interview all the students and their parents, and we try and make sure that we are aligned with regards to where we want to go together. So in terms of involvement, 100%, we develop, we're on site every day. We are there with them. We place them ourselves. We choose roommates. We do a lot of back-end testing to see what, especially there's some of the, on Volley Brooklyn, there's a couple of 4 beds. Volley Baileys will be more focused on little bachelor units. So we've got a couple of, but it's important for us who stays together as well. You know, if you have, especially when it comes to degrees, personalities, it could become quite challenging if you have very different personalities. So yeah, no, we're very involved. And
Yeah,
the parents.
it's nice to have some of that quality control in place. But I mean, I was even reading about sort of student accommodation sector and just about how the tenants are really good. They're sticky because in general, a student will book for at least a full year or the full term of their degree and they commit to that. And of course, their rent is usually guaranteed by the parents. So, you know, the chance of there being a default on payments and stuff like that is just really, really low. So that should give investors a lot of comfort as well to know that is, you know, and as you said, the demand, if you've got waiting lists, there's no shortage of people wanting to live there. So yeah, that's great news.
As an investor, your investment is secure. There's going to definitely be, I mean, on Volley Brooklyn, we had 2 beds. I think we sold it for 1.6. And at Volley Baileys, there's already a 300,000 Rand capital growth on those 2 beds.
That's amazing.
It's massive. Yeah. And I think it's also because it's part of the brand. I think we've really been quite intentional about building up this brand. And obviously, as an investor, you'll benefit from that. And the demand is there. I mean, guys are not just applying, they're also sending us motivational letters as to why they would be a good fit.
Wow.
Quite funny. Yeah.
It is like Harvard.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, well, Volley Baileys is up and available for the next 2 weeks to invest in. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm getting FOMO that I didn't invest more in Volley Brooklyn. So now's your chance to get in on this wonderful brand, this culture, and a really promising property sector. Andries, thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, hopefully we can do more of this.
Awesome. Thanks, Corley, and thanks to everyone watching this. And yeah, happy investing.